2, and we're going to follow these same few steps, and like I said, add. Now we are going to graph. So we're going to graph, and again, this is number 18. 18 in your homework. I'll just put that there so you know. All right, we're going to graph y equals 5x squared plus 10x, and I think it's minus 3, right? Yep. All right, minus 3. Okay, what is the first thing we did when we did the last example? We identified what 3 values?
A, B, and C.
Right, A, B, and C. Let's go ahead and do that, guys. What's my A?
5.
Positive 5. What's my B?
Positive 10.
Positive 10. What's my C? Negative 3, right. Tell me right now, here's the key. Is my parabola going to be opening up or down? Up, right, because what's A? Positive, good. Okay, so our parabola is opens up. Because A is probably obviously positive. So just remember, that's because A is greater than 0, so that means it's positive, okay? All right, so we know our parabola is opening up. That means, we'll see if we remember this from yesterday. That means, or 2 days ago, our vertex is going to be the highest or lowest point of my parabola. Tell me that. If my parabola opens up, is the vertex going to be the lowest or highest point of my parabola?
Lowest.
The lowest, exactly. Good. All right. Now, what did we find first in this last example? We had to find the axis of symmetry. Let's do that next. So now we need to find our axis of symmetry. Okay, axis of symmetry. And that's found by using the equation x equals the opposite of b over 2a. Again, there's the equation we have to use whenever we have to find the equation for the axis symmetry. Okay, let's go ahead and do that. X equals the opposite of, in parentheses, what's my b?
Negative 10.
Well, what is b originally?
10.
10, yeah. Yeah, it will become negative 10, right, Jeff? Yep. All right, 2 times, what, class? 5, yep. All right, so now let's go ahead and simplify this. Okay, x equals, what's the opposite of 10, like Jack said? Negative 10, and what's 2 times 5? 10. What's a negative 10 divided by a positive 10? Negative 1, exactly. The equation of my axis symmetry, which is the line that's going to cut my parabola in half, is x equals negative 1. Okay? What's the next thing I do now that I know what my axis symmetry is? What does that automatically give me? It gives me what of my vertex?
X.
The x, exactly. All right, let's go ahead and put next our vertex. Our vertex now is going to be, again, if you want to see this, is going to be this. That is going to be my x-coordinate of my vertex. I already know what the x-coordinate of my vertex is, because by definition, it passes through the vertex. So it always has to be the same. How then do I get my y-coordinate of my vertex? What do I do to get the y?
Plug
Plug
it
it back in.
Plug it in, right, Austin? Yep, plug it in. Here I go. To find my y, to find y, I'm going to plug it into this. So y equals 5 times negative 1 squared plus 10 times negative 1 minus 3. Okay? Again, you could use your calculator, but we're going to do it together. Okay? So y equals, order of operations tells me to do my power first. Negative 1 squared is 1 times 5. 5 plus 10 times the negative 1.
Negative 10.
Negative 10, and then bring down the minus 3. Order of operations tells me to make sure that I do from left to right, whenever it's addition and subtraction. They're kind of that same level of PEMDAS. So 5 plus a negative 10 is? Negative 5 minus 3. Negative 8. Very good. So negative 8 is my y. So where does that go? It goes up here. And now I have my vertex. Notice, this now means that my vertex is over negative 1, down 8. So it's over here. It's over here, like here, in the third quadrant. So now that's my vertex. And my parabola's open up. So my parabola's going to look somewhere like this. So it's not even anywhere near the origin or on the axis. So now it's been moved. All because we've added on this middle term of b times x. Now here's the new part, beyond what we already learned. Now, right now, all I line that goes through it. I have no idea what the shape of my graph is right now. So how do I do that? How do I figure out how to do other points of my parabola? Here's what we do. We make a little table, but it's a small table. We don't need a big, huge table with 5 values. Watch what I do. I'm going to make a table, but I'm only going to make it a mini table. So look how many values I actually only need. 2. I only need 2. Because here's why. What I'm going to do is I'm going to pick values for x that are less than the x-coordinate of my vertex. Everybody tell me right now, what's the x-coordinate of my vertex? -1. Can you give me 2 easy values that are less than -1?
-2.
-2. Let's put that there. And what else?
-3.
-3. Okay? Remember, pick 2 values that are less than x-coordinate of my vertex. That's coordinate, guys. It's short for it, of the vertex. Because it's -1, I pick -2 and -3. And guys, how do we always get y? What do we always do? Just do what? Plug them back in, right? Alright, so we're going to plug these 2 values in for x and solve for my y. Just like I did when I did plug -1 in to get -8. Alright, here we go. Y equals 5 times -2 squared plus 10 times -2 minus 3. I'm doing this a little bit quicker because now you guys know what I'm doing here. All I did was just plug in my -2x to solve for my y. I'm going to do this, you guys just listen and help me out a little bit. -2 squared is 4. 4 times 5 is 20. 10 times a -2 is -20. What happens when I add 2 opposites? They equal 0. What's my answer going to be? -3. Yep, -3. Good. I'll do the next one. 5 times -3 squared plus 10 times -3 minus 3. Order of operations. -3 squared is +9. 9 times 5 is 45. 10 times a -3 is -30. 45 plus a -30 is +15. 15 minus 3 is 12. Good. All right, now we're almost done. We're almost done, okay? Again, the only thing that was new was just this little mini table. Very important that you don't forget why we come up with those x values. Now we're going to graph this. Now you're thinking, well, Miss Griffith, how in the world am I going to graph this parabola? I only got 3 points on my parabola, but watch what happens. This is what's nice about this section from 10-2. All right. Okay, help me out, guys. What's my vertex up there?
-1.
-1, -8. All right, that's my vertex. And my parabola is doing what? Opening down or opening up? What did we say it does?
Opens up.
Opens up. Okay, good. So we're going here. Now, what did we say our x symmetry was? X equals what equation?
-1.
Yep, so watch. I go over to -1, and I'm going to draw a vertical line. This is my line that's going to do what to my parabola? Cut my parabola in what? Half. So there's my x symmetry. My vertex, I'm sorry, I didn't label my vertex. My vertex is -1, -8. So right now, guys, if I didn't do that mini table, that's all I have. I can't graph a parabola with only 2 things, can I? Now, here's why we used our little mini table that we did. Now let's graph those 2 ordered pairs we have. -2 what? -2, -3. 1, 2, 3. There's one other point. And what's the other one? -3, 12. 1, 2, 3, not 12. Okay. Now this is my vertex. I'll make that work, that 2. Okay, I'm going to graph what I have. I'm a little shaky here, so don't mind me. Oh, yeah. Here we go. We're all done, right? Well, what's wrong with my parabola? How much of my parabola do I have?
Half.
Do I exactly have half of it? So now do you see the importance of the axis of symmetry? Does anyone see what I could do to get the other half of my parabola? I'm going to take my pen here. See this point right here? couldn't I just reflect this point over the x-symmetry and just take it like I'm folding over a line? And folding it over, wouldn't I have my other half of my parabola?
Yeah.
So watch, all I do is, I'm one segment away from the x-symmetry, then I go one in the opposite direction and plot a point. Okay, over here, how much am I away from the x-symmetry? How many units?
2.
2. Go 2 in the opposite direction and plot your other point. And now what you've done is you've just constructed the other half of your parabola. Just by reflecting over that one half. Okay, so watch. I'll just make it my purple again, or my, whatever color this is. What color would you call this? Pinkish? Now do I have my parabola? By just reflecting it over, 1 unit, 1 unit. 2 units, 2 units, and you've got your other half of your parabola. That's why, guys, we only make a mini table. That's why we pick 2 values that are less than the x-coordinate of the vertex, because you're making that left half of your parabola, and you just reflect. So let's write that down in our notes. To get our other points, okay, so to get other half of parabola, okay, reflect. This is the important part. Reflect points over the x-symmetry. That's why the x-symmetry, that line, is so very important to construct, because you will not be able to get your other half of your parabola unless you use that x-symmetry as your line of reflection. Okay? This line right here cuts it in half, so you have to reflect those points over that line in order to get your other half of your parabola. And now we're done. Now the nice thing about this too is I'm not asking you to do any sort of